Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we will be speaking about our business management and business management with business analytics programs, undergraduate programs. My name is Maria Gerenko. I'm a student recruitment advisor here at Lancaster University Leipzig. We are a branch campus of Lancaster University, a top UK university. And today with me on this webinar are my colleagues, Dr. Jose Alcaraz, a lecturer in the business management program, and Dr. Neha Jindal, a lecturer in business analytics. So also with us on this call is our current student, Fiona, who will share her experiences of studying with us towards the end of the webinar. So with this, I would like to hand over to Jose.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Is the image okay? Can you see it correctly?
Yeah, I think, yeah, now.
All right. So very, very briefly about who we are. As you know, we are a branch campus of the top UK university, Lancaster. So this means that the degrees, the quality, the teams, the quality assurance, the contents, the assessments, everything that we do here is mirroring and mimicking and essentially what they do in the UK, but of course with a particular flavor of Germany, continental Europe, and Leipzig. So in a way, we like to think that we are offering perhaps the best of both worlds, the UK and its top cutting edge education, and then continental Europe, here in Leipzig, center of Europe, 90 minutes away from Berlin. We see ourselves as one of the cutting-edge research-intensive institutions, and the rankings, in a way, are all the time backing that up and telling us that we think, in the right direction. And perhaps a sign of that is that we are among the few schools that are triple accredited. That this means that we are, well, in that group of schools that take everything around learning very, very seriously, hence the accreditations. As you can see in the map, we are quite happy to say that we are not only in Germany, but in the center of continental Europe, 90 minutes away from Berlin, but also so close to the other capitals, from Vienna to Paris, to Amsterdam, etc., etc. So we like to challenge students. We like students who want to challenge themselves, who want to see the complexity of problems out there. And for that, kindly let me just share with you a simple vignette of things that we do or that you may do in class if you study with us.
Keep on moving.
Decode, give me a hint of what you can do. The road will lead you, guide you. Show me what's your concern. We know so much, but there is more to be learned.
You got your way and I got mine. Our little understanding can blow your mind.
Charge me up, set me on fire.
Take me to a world full of wonder.
So, what we just saw is just one vignette of KUKA robotics. It's something that you may, for example, see in some of our sessions, our modules. It's just an example of a particular cutting-edge company from Germany that was recently purchased by a Chinese company, MIT. And it's a simple vignette of the kind of the complexity that we see today in the world. A top German company bought by a Chinese firm, where they having such really different cultures, ways of organizing, ways of managing people, ways of managing performance. And this is in a way reflecting our very sophisticated, complex world that we want to tackle and address when we are studying in this program. So I myself had the luck, I was lucky enough to be consulting with the US firm, the RBL Group, then move into academia, Barcelona, Shanghai, Dubai, the Caribbean, Australia, then Munich, and then France. And in a way, many of your colleagues studying here, your fellow students, as well as your instructors, have this multicultural background. And this is one of the beauties of studying here, being surrounded by people that will add such different views, rich backgrounds. So what is this program all about? This bachelor program may offer you the possibility of starting in a kind of a solidifying your knowledge, if that was required, with a foundation year. That means that before starting the program, if you thought that you may need to reinforce your skills, your basic understanding, knowledge around business, we provide a foundation initial year, that then goes to the program itself with a first year, a second year, and a third year. So this is the 3 years, what we call a 3-year adventure. We see it as an adventure because we think a program like this is really a program to challenge you, a program to help you grow as a person and as a future manager. Now, when we look at the contents, we see that we put a lot of emphasis on careers, of course, on business analytics, on marketing, on all disciplines of management, of course, economics, finance, but we also want to grow in you, foster an entrepreneurial mindset to help you become, if you want so, an entrepreneur. We would be working together, learning together around how management is changing, how the global landscape is changing, how things are changing, and then strengthening your decision-making skills, your entrepreneurial mindset, your capacity to understand particular relevant trends around microeconomics, macroeconomics, etc., etc. And for sure, we put particular emphasis on everything around you as an ethical leader, you as someone who understands the impact that we have as business people, as managers in society and the natural environment. So strategic management, you as a leader, you as a responsible leader, these are kind of the building blocks of a 3-year program where we want you to foster your career, foster your independent learning, get the most relevant building blocks of everything around management. Now, this means, in terms of very practical terms, that we may, of course, offer you a few electives. In this case, those electives may revolve around decision-making and techniques that are quite sophisticated for decision-making. Of course, social media marketing, that could be the first year and have some electives on that. Of course, sustainability, or even environmental economics, and certainly project management, and for sure, digital transformation. In a way, what you can count is that these 3 years usually revolves around 2 semesters, and you could expect that this is kind of half a year. So it's around 20 or a bit more of teaching weeks, So it's kind of half of the year you may be busy attending classes, and you could expect perhaps 10, 12 hours face-to-face teaching a week during these 10 weeks, and then 10 weeks or 20 weeks in total, around that a year, 20 weeks a year, around 10 hours of face-to-face teaching. We see this as a real adventure, it's a transformational adventure. So this is essentially what I wanted to share about the bachelor, and with us is Neha on business analytics. Neha, are you there?
Yes, Jose, I'm here.
Would
Thank
you
you.
like to go on, and I will help you with the slides?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Jose. Hello, everyone. I'm Neha Jindal, and I'm a lecturer at Lancaster University Leipzig, and I teach some of the modules on this program. So I'm going to provide you a brief introduction about the undergraduate program in business studies that is specializing in business analytics. So before opting for this program, it is very crucial to understand the importance of business analytics in any organization and from employment perspective as well. So as we all know that today's world is powered by data, okay? With the development of all kind of high technologies, we have a lot of data available to us, and it's becoming larger and larger. So all big companies and small companies as well, they collect data set and they assess it by applying some kind of analytical tools and software techniques. And they finally make some decisions which are very helpful for the business. It will make the business having competitive advantage. So that's why we say in this data-driven economy, every business needs skilled managers and analysts who can make most of the available data set to us. So I can assure you that once you graduate with this program, with this degree, your skills will be in very high demand as a management consultant or business analyst in industries which are driven by digital transformation. Okay, so Jose, can you move to the next slide so that I can talk about the structure of this program? Okay, so this program is named as BSc Honors in Business Management with Business Analytics. So in the very first year, you will have same modules as first year business management students, in which you will have a range of modules like economics, marketing, finance, accounting, and also introduction to business analytics. Okay, and in your second and third year, you will learn more advanced concepts. For example, you will focus on advanced statistical analysis, evidence-based logic, and let's say big data management and analysis. So these are the things that you will do in second and third year, which will make you more specialized in the field of business analytics. And also during this course, you will have some options for electives, as Jose mentioned previously. So the electives that you have, if you move to the next slide, I can show the students some elective modules. So these are the list of modules for second year, where you can choose two of your choice. If you like economics, then you can go for microeconomics analysis, which is an advanced module. And if you want to grasp skills in management, then there are very interesting modules like entrepreneurship mindset, changing role of management, social media marketing. So like we have a collection of modules here related to different fields in management. And in your third year, again, you will have choice. You can choose 3 modules out of these 7 listed on the slide according to your preferences. So this is all about electives and the structure of your program. Also during this course, you can opt to spend a year in our home campus at Lancaster. But for that, you need to work very, very hard in your first year because there's a lot of competition going on. And if you want to do that, you will have an option. So that's all I would like to say about this program. And if you're interested, then we welcome your applications and looking forward to see you on campus. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, my camera is not working at the moment, but otherwise I think it's okay. Thank you, and over to Jose now. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. So in a way, some of these modules may look a little bit standard, like you may see in other places, but what we are particularly proud is the special angle that we bring in Lancaster University. First of all, we are really cutting-edge research driven. It means that everything we do revolves around the top cutting-edge research. So we are very serious about gaining knowledge that brings practical insights. So that's cutting-edge knowledge that brings practical insights for you to be able to make decisions. But also, we care a lot about understanding management within the social context to foster and invite you to have a critical mindset. So if we talk about algorithms or digital transformation, we want to see that in the social context of how that is transforming society for the good and not so good. So these underlying questioning of issues around power, justice, discrimination, or aiming for a better organizations of perhaps more balanced work-life balance, for example, we are really into that. So it's never only about just the techniques, it's about the techniques and then having this critical capacity to analyze within the wider context, whether it's ethical, social, or environmental. And more important, what we want from this program is to foster your sense of autonomy, to invite you to grow and think about an attitude of growth, self-development, and your own employability. Now, we are very serious about creating and crafting learning environments together. That means that we embrace the premise that the brain loves variety. This is why maybe you have some of your teachers inviting you to create a film or to watch a film or to have a role play or a theater piece that you will perform with the students, or you may be creating a podcast, or for sure you will have company projects where you'll be presenting to real managers your options for them to go in a certain direction. So at the end of the day, we want our teaching to be rich, to be diverse and challenging. So as mentioned, we put particular emphasis on driving the entire learning effort on cutting-edge research. And at the end of the day, we see that these competencies and skills that will come with conceptual understanding and practice-based insights should empower you as a manager, as a future manager, to work maybe in the UK or continental Europe. And we for sure put a lot of emphasis on these industry links, whether it's with Leipzig, Berlin, the German economy, etc. So we see this as a program that is for those of you who want to be intellectually challenged, who want to address complex problems. We want you to foster your own curiosity and think of yourself, or build yourself, not only as an efficient manager, but as a responsible future manager. And as my colleagues were saying, we see this as a journey that you can do in English in the heart of Europe, in a place that is quite affordable, like Leipzig, or some people even live in Berlin and just commute here. A safe place with affordable living costs and the possibility of having a foundation year before you start the journey, if so you want it. So this is essentially the presentation, and we are more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the chat, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section and we will answer them as soon as possible. For now, Jose, I would like to ask you, could you tell something, just a bit about your colleagues, so who are teaching in the programs? Because I think many students and their parents, they are wondering, who are the lecturers?
Right, so most of us, not everybody, but most of us for sure have been, in fact, trained and have their own education in the UK, many also in Lancaster by itself. But we believe that what is really essential is that we can bring a variety of voices, a variety of lecturers. So all trained in cutting-edge universities, but from different parts of the world with different background. Some of them have more industry-based experience initially, and then they moved to academia, as it was my case. Others were full-on on research from the very beginning. So I would say that we are aiming to have a strong influence from the UK. We draw a lot from colleagues that have been educated there, but ultimately we want to bring a variety, diversity.
Yeah, thank you. One thing I would like to mention, when we compare the programs, BSc in Business Management and BSc Business Management with Business Analytics, it's important to mention that as an applicant, there are not many differences for you. The major difference is that for the Business Management with Business Analytics program, we require a solid mathematics background. So whenever you apply for the General Business Management program, you can check our entry requirements on our website. But we will not look into your mathematics in high school. This is not a prerequisite for absolutely most qualifications. But since the business analytics program includes more quantitative modules, we do require you to have a solid background in mathematics in high school. So this is the major difference. The other entry requirements, the English language requirement, they are the same for both programs. And if you are taking the foundation year in business, for example, then you can choose which program you progress onto. We also offer BSc Business Management with Accounting and Finance. And this year, in 2024, we will start offering BSc Business Management and Media, for which we also don't require mathematics in high school. So this is major difference when it comes to the entry requirements. Yeah, otherwise, our foundation program in business, if you need to take it or if you decided to take it, will lead you onto all four of the above mentioned programs. So let me check. Yeah, the tuition fees, somebody is asking about the tuition fees. I will drop you a link to the website because the tuition fees differ depending on your residency status. So feel free to check the link. And with this, I would like to hand over to our current student, Fiona. Fiona is a third-year student in our business management program, and she has joined us today to share her experiences of studying with us. Hello, Fiona.
Hi, Maria.
Hello.
Would you
Yeah.
like me to start on my video? Is that
Yeah,
necessary?
if you could, or if you wish to, then sure.
Okay, let
Nice.
me have a look at the settings just so I can enable the camera correctly.
Yeah,
And
of
I hope you can
course.
see me then.
In the meantime, I'm dropping the link to our fees to the chat.
I think you need to enable that. But I can just stay anonymous as well. I'm very happy with that.
Okay, no problem. So the link to the fees is in the chat. Feel free to check. So yeah, Fiona, thank you for joining us. So let's start with discussing why you chose to study business management.
Actually, my parents have a background in business. They ended up in business positions even though not studying it, which I thought was really interesting. And I just grew up with my parents in the office, and I liked what I saw and what kind of positions they held in what kind of industries. And I thought that it was very, very versatile because I could study business and then choose whether I want to further like deepen my knowledge in academia or maybe go into economics or and I'm not limited to any kind of industry, which is very interesting for me because I can kind of choose what I'm really interested in and like pave my own way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and when you were choosing, when you were still in high school, for example, when you were choosing a university, your respective academic path, why did you choose to study for a British degree in Germany?
I looked into several private schools in Germany because I am from Germany and I thought that was a little bit easier. I knew that I wanted the main study language to be English. So I looked into private schools that offer that, but I didn't really find a fit that I thought was suitable for me. And then I looked into UK schools, and that was better. But when I applied for university, Brexit wasn't through yet. So I wasn't really sure how I was going to be treated as an international student. And I was a little bit worried about that. So then I came across like Lancaster and Leipzig, and I thought, okay, this is actually a very nice combination of two worlds because I can have the English-speaking British degree that I want, but still be in an environment that I like and feel safe in. So that's why I chose to apply, and then I got in.
Great, thank you. And I would just like to mention that our campus is very diverse. So we have, at the moment, we have around 420 students on campus, and out of them, and together with also lecturers, close to 90 different nationalities. So the campus is very diverse. Fiona, how do you feel about it? So I think in your class, there are students from all over the world. How do you find this international setting?
I always thought it was very interesting because it gives you the opportunity to engage with people from countries you've never actually met. And then you actually discover yourself that maybe one, you have bias concerning some countries and like their culture. And at the same time, you discover that you just don't know a lot. I mean, right now I have students in my class from Central Europe, so Poland, Germany as well. But at the same time, you have the US, you have Venezuela, you have Taiwan, you have India. So those are all countries that are pretty far away, and most of us haven't really had an exchange of cultures like this before. So especially with an open mindset, it was super interesting to learn more about people and their cultures.
Yeah. That's true. Thank you. So yeah, for those of you who come from different countries, you don't have to worry. Our campus is very diverse, very international, and most of your classmates would be going through the same issues. For example, if you were for the first time moving to Germany, most of the people around you will be in the same situation as you. So you don't have to worry about that. Thank you, Fiona. What about the program itself? So what would you say about the style of teaching? How do lecturers engage you in class?
Very funny. Actually, two of my lecturers are in this call. But I actually enjoyed both of their classes in their own ways. For Jose, his teaching is very vivid, which engages the students usually a lot, which is personally very easy as a student to follow because you don't really have a very this separate relationship between the lecturer and the student. It's like an engaging process, which I personally very enjoyed. And then on the other hand as well, the lecturers are open for critiques. It's not like the teaching style is set in stone. So for example, for Neha at the beginning, we were kind of like warming up with each other and we're like, hey, could you maybe try to, for example, include this and that a little bit more? Because we feel like that way we like actually learn better. And she totally did that. And in the end, we were super happy with the module. And she taught modules that are like very dry, especially in the beginning, because it's very theoretical, it's a lot of maths, it's a lot of diagrams. So it's not very easy to understand at the beginning, but in my personal opinion, she managed to do that very well.
Okay, great. And what is your favorite module? What is it that you enjoy the most about the program?
My favorite module, um, I'm a little biased, I have to say that. My favorite module was the global classroom module. It was a module that was taught across Lancaster campuses, so including the main campus in Lancaster, Lancaster, Ghana, Lancaster in Malaysia, and then the Chinese campus as well. And it was taught by Dr. Anton Siebert, who's the marketing lecturer at Leipzig. He's also my academic tutor, which is why I'm a little bit biased because obviously I've been in exchange with him for the last 3 years. We've talked a lot about my studies and his teaching. So that was probably the best module because it was just a super interesting experience, this kind of module that was taught by lecturers from all over the globe. And then we had group projects with people that we never met in person, which is always a challenge, but that as well opens so many doors for us, especially in the learning process.
Thank you. You mentioned that he is your tutor. Could you please tell in a couple of words what a tutor is? Because I think students on this call might not be familiar with this system.
Sure. So every student gets assigned an academic tutor who's a lecturer at university. It might not necessarily be a lecturer that you actually have yourself, but they check in with you usually every term. You have a call with them. It can last between 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and then they just catch up with you, how your study's going. Do you have plans for, like, for me personally, now that I'm at the end of my bachelor's degree, it was like, well, do you have further plans? What do you want to do? Do you need any support in doing that? For example, a recommendation letter, or just in general, any tips, any advice that he could give. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, this is also something that many families are asking, if there is any academic support throughout the studies. So yeah, just so you know, we have this tutoring program, and every student gets assigned an academic tutor. Okay, Fiona, what would you say are the skills that you developed throughout your studies that you believe might help you in your future career?
Um, Probably one of the most important things I would say is to do research by myself and be independent in my opinion. So if you learn how to think, it's very it's very difficult to describe actually, but you need to learn how to question things in a certain way, which is super helpful in terms of work. I have an office job, and it's always important that you don't just do your work blindly, but you're engaged with it and that you question things, how you can improve things, how you can be more efficient, but also whether some things are actually necessary or are they done the right way. And I felt that as a student, especially at this campus, this was highly encouraged through the lecturers, which I personally think was a great takeaway.
Would you say there is a lot of self-study? So there are, like, just so the students know, there are not so many in-class hours during the week. So I would say on average it's like 1 to 2 classes per day. How much do you do independently, would you say?
I think it really depends on the module. There are modules that have assessments during the term, so usually you tend to be more engaged with them during the term. Um, then there are modules that only have one final in the end, where usually people try to catch up on things like 3 or 4 weeks prior. It really depends. I mean, usually you have 2, 3 hours every week per module. Um, and students can individually choose how much they want to do. But usually I would encourage that you at least go through the materials that were covered in class after class, especially when it's still fresh on your mind, and go through it, take some notes. Um, you can choose how you do things. Personally, I can accommodate my job at the side very well and still have some free time. Um, but at the same time, I think I'm very good at planning my things. So
Yeah, that's a useful skill. Fiona, so you mentioned that you are working. Could you share maybe some general information about your employment? Just on the side note, many students ask, and it is allowed to work aside of your studies. During the semester, you can work up to 20 hours per week. So this is completely possible, and I would say that quite many students work during their studies, at least in the final year. So could you share maybe something about your employment?
Sure. So there are different types of employment you could have as a student. You can have a student working contract, which is what you mentioned. I have something in Germany which is called a mini job, where you have less hours, but you have a fixed amount of pay that you get per month. So I currently I'm around 8 or 10 hours per week. I originally did an internship with the company after my first year, and then they asked whether I would like to stay and continue working with them. They're a pretty small company, but they're based around Germany, Budapest as well, and then Vietnam. So we have 3 offices, technically 4, 2 in Germany. So my English skills come in handy as well because the company's communication language is English, which makes it super easy for me technically because at the same time it enhances my academic English as well. But yeah, it's mostly an office job. I can do it remotely. I can do it on campus as well, which is actually what I did today
Mhm.
because I'm on campus currently, but I didn't have classes, so I was here for work. But yeah, that's what I do.
And what are your career plans after you graduate? Do you plan to stay with the same company or?
Well, I'm probably pursuing a master's degree, and this kind of job is very nice to have on the side because it's a fixed amount that I get at each month, and it doesn't require as much work as I would for other jobs. And I'm very comfortable with the company, but at the same time, I'm probably looking for some other challenges and how I can further grow. So I'm probably going to stay at least for a little bit and see what the opportunities are depending on where I go. And then I need to like probably put it on a scale and see what benefits and what disadvantages come with changing the job. And then I'll decide what I do.
Mhm. Yeah, good luck with that. You mentioned that you speak English at work, and this is also something that many students are asking. Is it realistic to find an English-speaking job here in Germany? And of course, I have to say that especially in the business management field, of course, it's a big advantage if you speak German. But I would say most of our students, by the time they graduate, they have already quite a solid knowledge of German. We do offer a basic German course free of charge in the first year of study. So you could start with that, and then if you wish, and most students decide, of course, to continue with that, then you can take additional courses. But yeah, of course, it opens a lot more opportunities for international students if you speak German, but there are still quite many international companies where you could work in English. And I think probably some of your classmates also work in English, Fiona.
Yeah, especially at the bigger companies, the working culture is usually internationally, so the communication language is English in general. But I do encourage students to try and pick up the German skill. I mean, you could, as a student in Leipzig, you don't necessarily need the German to live a comfortable life. You don't need, for example, to ask the cashier in German. You don't need it. But especially in the professional field, I highly encourage it because it's just an additional skill that employers very much value, and it gives the student itself a lot more opportunities. And German is a nice language.
That's true. So Fiona, is there something you would advise to prospective students? So maybe something you wish you knew before you joined us, or like anything you think a prospective student might need when they are deciding which university, which program to choose.
Um, For me personally, it was the right choice just because I informed myself. I think that's important. I think you need to take the opportunities that the university offers you, like with the exchange with student ambassadors, where you can have a talk with actual students and ask them questions. How's the feeling on campus? Is whether you're looking for the size of the campus, for example, the city feeling. It might not be for everyone, but if you actually do some research and try to understand the campus culture and the people here, then it's a lot easier to make a decision, I think. And I personally thrived at that. So
Yeah, thank you very much, Fiona. If anybody has questions for Fiona, we can still wait a few minutes. Thank you for joining. I would just like to mention that Fiona is our student ambassador, and you can chat with our student ambassadors also on our website. We have Meet Our Students tab on the website where you can find a student maybe from your home country speaking your language, or a student from your program, and you can ask any questions you have. You could also reach out to Fiona later and ask some questions if you come up with something after the webinar. Thank you very much, Fiona, for joining. It's very interesting to
for
hear
having
your
me.
experiences. Yeah, so let's wait, see if there are any other questions. In the meantime, I can see there is a question: how long is a conditional offer available? If I understand your question correctly, if you already have a conditional offer, and if you are an international student, so not coming from the EU or UK, then the priority deadline to accept your offer and finalize all your documents would be beginning of July, so preferably the 1st of July. This is because it might take up to 3 months to get a student visa, and also student accommodation options, they might become scarce towards August. So basically also for European students, even if you don't need a visa, please bear in mind that the accommodation options are usually becoming limited by August. So we recommend all students to make their final decision as soon as they can, and if possible, finalize everything by the beginning of July. If we have a partnership with a particular school, unfortunately, I cannot advise on that. I don't know. Yeah, anything else related to the program? Let's just wait a few more minutes. And of course, please feel free to reach out to us. I think students on the call, they already applied, so they have a dedicated team member following up with them. If you haven't applied yet, if you are watching the recording, then please feel free to reach out to us through our website. We have a contact us button on the website. We have also info@lancasterleipzig.de email address. I can drop it into the chat as well, where you can send any questions you have after the webinar, and we will get back to you. Yeah, if there are no more questions, then I would like to thank Jose, Neha, and Fiona for joining us today. I think it was quite an informative webinar for students interested in our business management programs. As I mentioned, there will be a new program, Business Management and Media, coming up in October 2024. So yeah, feel free to visit our website and see the descriptions of each program. We have modules year by year listed on the website. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we will speak to academics, we will speak to our students to find the answers for you. Thank you very much, everybody. And I think we will be finishing the webinar now.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.